Hello everyone, and welcome to the first video of 2023 from Claudia at We're Just Two Sisters. So this is a very interesting and fun junk journal that I just finished that I think you're going to really enjoy. It's got lots of character and lots of charm, and it's just kind of strange. I call it the Book of Curiosities, and it is very curious. And so what I'm going to do is show you a little bit about the size of it and the different ways that it was made. And then we'll jump into the contents and walk through. This is a pretty big one. It's 9¼ by 6¼ and it has a pretty large 2-inch spine. So the 2-inch spine is, as you know, the bigger the spine, the more it holds. So I'm really happy about how much, character I was able to add to this. And it's made out of a hardcover book. So it's put together or held together by this pretty silk ribbon. The ribbon is removable, so you can replace it with a ribbon of your choice. Or as it continues to get bigger, if you add additional things to it, you can get a bigger ribbon. As you can see on the side here, it is very full and it has a lot of really interesting textures, a lot of different interesting ribbons, and it's made up of all different kinds of paper, which you'll be able to view as we go through the flip through. So the cover of this journal and the theme of this journal is very vintage photographs that have been embellished with animal heads of all different types. And I had so much fun doing this. So this has a really fun pocket here. It has this really cool little pocket watch that I made. It has a target on the back. It slips down into this pocket with the ticket. This actually opens up. These slip down into this fairly large pocket. There's 3 little pieces in this side pocket. And then it has this little embellishment here and a little brad down here that says air travel. On the back of this journal, it has this really fun graphic of just layer upon layers. So it's got my own embossed paper sewn onto other embossed paper with a little frame. This is a saloon girl with this cute little chipmunk head that just changes the whole concept of the illustration. And then this also has this really pretty little gear here with a charm and some red ribbon. So let's turn her over and walk through. I have a little stack of things over here. I always like to have a few extras in case, which oftentimes is the case, I have missed a pocket and not necessarily put something in every single pocket. So let me just zoom out just a little bit here so I can make sure that I have plenty of room for you to see. So let's open it up. On the inside of this, this has 3 full signatures. 1 here. And they're large signatures, 2 signatures and 3 signatures. Each one has about 20 papers, which makes it about 40 pages. So that would make it 3 times 4, about 120 pages of paper. So on the inside cover, it has this really great illustration here, a photograph, Dresses and Turbans, designed by Paul Piot, March 1911. And I've really had a good time, like I said, of choosing just the right expressions and just the right little critters for embellishing these. This is a little pocket that has some vellum paper over the top. It's an English tea wrapper. In this pocket is this cute little card with the little bunny lady on her bicycle. That just slides right down in here. And there's lots of lace. The papers that are in this journal are vintage book tear-outs. They are craft pages. They're my own tea-dyed and coffee-dyed and echoed pages, maps, as you'll see. This is a really cool illustration here with the lady and her dog. Be splendid and choose adventure. This has quite a bit of lace and sewing, little brads on it. This is a tear out from an old sewing book, tear out from a really old magazine, Harvard, Yale, vintage sheet music, and I have intentionally left a lot of pages blank for you to continue to embellish yourself and for journal writing. Sketching, drawing, whatever it is you like to do with your journal. If you don't recognize the folks in this picture, it would be Charlie Chaplin. And I don't recall the lady, but I just thought, you know, the little creatures that I chose just really were fun and made that photograph even come to life. He's got a little steampunk hat on. You will see some traces of steampunk in this journal. Although it's kind of oddities and curiosities, I wanted to also embellish it with a little bit of steampunk. So here's a little side pocket on this one with some little cutouts. This really cute little bunny on a piece of vintage tear out from a book. And here also is more embellishments with the beautiful Victorian lady. Lots of art paper, lots of vintage stationery, again, maps. A lot of these I have framed using my own embossed paper. Added some little ribbons. Here's a really fun page on a map. There's this card that has this really cute cat doing sit-ups on the back of this one. And here's one that I can see that I forgot to put something in. So that's why I keep a few things over to the side so that I can just tuck them in and replace them. This little pocket is these schoolboys skating. And again, I just loved choosing just the right heads or just the right characters, if you will, for these photographs. This is the king, and I thought he had quite the fitting page to show off of his regalia and his majesty. Example of some coffee dyed paper with using stencils. More of the coffee dyed. These are leaves that I used to coffee dye that. Again, lots of places for embellishment. This is kind of a fun masculine page, if you will. It's got a couple of vintage letters. These open up and you can use them for journaling as well. And it also has pocket here that you can pretty much put whatever you want. This is a boxing scene. And this is, again, a really interesting photograph from a movie. This is from an old Harper's Bazaar magazine. Lots of lace, as I said. I love the guy on the bicycle. A pocket with some lace. Has 2 tags. Has this lovely lady here. And then this small little tag here. Again, you can use this for journaling with the lace. And a lot of these things are sewn on, so they will last a lifetime. The center of that first signature. Again, lots of space for writing. Gene Kelly and Ginger Rogers. Old Los Angeles Times newspaper, Southern California in the summer. And here's one that does not have anything in its little pocket. So I'll grab something here and put that in there. How about if we put a couple of things in there? So that has a little pocket. So an interesting photograph. More blank pages, coffee dyed paper. This is one of my favorite things to put in, kind of a chunky junk journal. It's called a writing board. So the writing board slips right into this little pocket here. And the writing board is used, so let's say that you wanted to write on this page. But behind it, it was pretty bumpy. If you put your writing board behind the page that you want to write on, it makes a very smooth, very easy surface to write on. So I like to include those in these chunky journals so that it makes them useful. And I really encourage people. I know a lot of people say, oh my goodness, I would never write in this journal. I don't want to mess it up. My handwriting isn't great. Please, please, please write in your journals. You know, handwriting is just subjective and it's for you anyway. So if you're really, really, really not comfortable with your handwriting, you might also consider just typing it out and printing it out and gluing what you want to say onto the page. You can always do that. So here's a fun little pocket with the bunny. And he's definitely trying to court her. And here's some little seashells and a card that sticks right down in this pocket. And again, these pockets and the ephemera and the cards and the tags that are included can be moved around however you might like. Here's some little pockets that don't have anything in there, so I'll put that in there. And this has a card in it. This actually has 1, 2, 3, 4 places to insert something. So this one has a little thing on the back, and it just slides right down into this pocket. And I've also included some, like I said, some little fun little curiosities, steampunk kinds of things, just because I thought they went well. Here's a pretty little lady. I actually added some butterfly wings to her and some embellished trim here with sewn in with some string. And this is, I think, Al Pacino, Taxi Driver, I think was the name of this movie. And I found this little bear head that I thought was really cute for him. The letter edged in black. And as I said, a lot of these are sewn. They're definitely intact for a very long time. You don't have to worry about being super careful. Some of the pages are a little bit fragile when it comes to where they're sewn in, especially these vintage pages of sheet music and old magazines. The paper is just fragile. But other than that, you really don't have to be too careful with this. I thought this was a cool dude. In Peru and Ecuador, he just reminded me of a gentleman who would travel to those parts of the world. This is one of my favorites. That's the end of the first signature. This is one of my favorite pages. And this one has quite a few little elements here. It has the dancing couple. For a moment with flowers in her hair, she was free to follow her heart. And this has some little tags, tickets, little cards. This one can go right in here. And you can add additional things here on this particular pocket. Lots of white space, lots of writing space, old books. This one is actually an Edinburgh or a Scottish Mark book that I thought was very interesting. Cardstock, thin rice paper, just all kinds of different paper. I really loved this illustration here, or the photograph, and I've turned them into just different characters. This is a cool page. This is some of my own coffee dyed paper using rusty elements, rusty letters. This little pocket has a tag. It has a stamp, a wax stamp, and several other little embellishments on it. Again, lots of writing space, lots of journaling space. This is what's called a padded pouch. So this one has this lovely lady, and she is sewn onto the embossed paper with a pocket made of vellum and a little envelope that I made out of an old farmer's almanac. And this opens up, and it has this little graded spelling book card in it. Again, you can add whatever you might like. And this goes right down into this little pocket and just kind of dresses that whole page up. This is a scene from The Godfather. And I, again, enjoyed choosing the characters for these and changing the look of the photographs. There's a wooden butterfly here with a really pretty butterfly ephemera. Another example of coffee dyed paper. This one has a little tag. It's a small page, a page torn out of a book. And this has a little family here and a side pocket with a leaf charm. And in this pocket there are a couple of postcards. And again, this has a little tab on the edge. This is one of my favorite that I made, and it has this, it's a railroad scene, New York Central lines. It has some little papers here that are purposefully kind of frayed just because it's very old. And it's embellished on the back there with some of that coffee dyed paper. It has these two little cards that just slide into these this little corner pocket. I like to put them this way and this way. That way you can still see the little guy here who is on the railroad. Here's a beautiful gentleman and his partner there. Harper's Weekly magazine. And this is a really old world atlas. This is the center of the second signature. Again, one of my favorite pages here. This is Bonnie and Clyde. Here it has this little tablet inside. Goes right down into this little belly band. It has these 3 tags or cards. One is a little floral design, writing room on the back, a map, and a ticket. And those can just go right down into that side pocket. Has one of my homemade buttons here. And again, that's the notorious Bonnie and Clyde. Keep going through this. This is an interesting lady here. And I've added this little lace frame to it with some embellishments here of some ribbon roses. More of the coffee dyed paper. Here is some tracing paper with some calligraphy. Practice guides and craft paper, blank paper, sketch paper, writing paper. And this is, I like to think of this as just kind of a courting scene. This young man and the 2 beautiful ladies. And I've put some lace here and added a couple of a tag and a card here to the top of this one. More coffee dyed paper. This one is really cute. This is a gentleman on his big tricycle, special delivery. I like to think that he was delivering the letter. Has a side pocket here that the letter can just slip right down inside. On the background of this old magazine. That is the end of the second signature. And here is a scene from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. The beginning of the second signature is this lovely lady with a dictionary tear out, some maps, tickets, a little floral design, a side pocket. It says, "Blessed are the curious, for they shall have adventure." Here is a snippet that I made that I glued onto this fun page. There is a letter in this pocket, which looks like a postcard. And the snippet is just pieces of scrap material that are sewn. You can see the sewing marks that are sewn onto a piece of trim. And then the piece of trim is glued to the page. So not only does it hang over the side, but it just adds more depth and texture. More tear-outs from books, old vintage books and sheet music. Lots of writing space and some really fun textured paper that you can embellish on your own. Here's a little side pocket at the top that has this steampunk card. And there's also a space at the top of this one that you can add additional things. In fact, I will take one of these little letters and put that in here so that every spot has something in it. There we go. That looks pretty cool. There is a pocket that is this handsome couple all in red. I liked the red. This one has a pocket here, and I have another letter here that I will put in that pocket. This was using some metal tags that I had that I allowed to rust onto the paper. And I really liked not only the design, but I like the feel of this coffee dyed paper. I like the crinkle sound that it makes when you touch it. It just really seems like it's old. Here's some more of that newspaper from the Los Angeles Times, an old book that I've also copy dyed. Some of the pages, as you can see, have different edging to them, which I've cut using pinking shears or different kinds of scissors. Some of them I've left as the tear outs from the tablets that they originally came in. There's some more tracing paper with some calligraphy practice sheets. Just some stationery that I thought was interesting and kind of added that touch to this one. Here's another one with a pocket with embossed paper, lots of cloth. And I thought, you know, he was just such a dapper young man. I'm going to put that in there. This is a couple of little letters that are tied together with a string. And more of the different pages, more of the coffee dyed pages. This page is really fun. It has a gentleman that's playing the piano, Weber Piano Forte, best pianos made. These are, this is a padded. It has a pocket here in the front. This pocket has this fun little envelope that I made, and I make all of the little embellishments. If you open up the envelope, you'll see that it has a card inside. The card has this fun illustration and a little pocket with a tag or a card in it with a castle. This can just slip down into this little envelope like so. And you can either put it all the way inside, or I like to have it kind of show over the edge because I like how that looks. Wrap this around and simply put your little tag, your little fastener there. And then this goes right down in here. Has a little button on the end. Pretty red with lace. More plain paper. Some very lacy edged coffee dyed paper. This is a lovely mother and her children with a Victorian frame that I stamped and put around that with this piece of cloth that has this gorgeous butterfly on it. A thing from a gardening magazine. And then the very last page here has an envelope that I made. The envelope, when you open it up here, oops, I know that's not that hard. Huh. Okay, there we go. So when you open up the envelope, it has a tablet in it. The tablet says there is nothing like a dream to create the future, with this handsome, handsome fox all dressed up, and inside is a tablet. It has quite a bit of paper, and it has a little belly band here that you can put something in. I'll probably add something to that. I've run out of extra things that I usually keep on hand. This envelope is attached to the back cover, and again, all you have to do is close the envelope and wrap the string around, and it keeps it nice and secure. On the very back, we already also looked at this, but that is this journal. It is so much fun, and my husband looked at it the other day, and he said, boy, somebody's going to really like that. It's very curious. It's very different. It's extremely unique, and I hope you're that person. So this is going to be posted on our Etsy store in the next day. So if you're interested in purchasing it, you can go to www.we'rejust2sisters.etsy.com. That's We're Just Two Sisters with the number 2.etsy.com. And otherwise, I hope you've gotten some inspiration from this, and I hope you have a wonderful time making your own journals and your paper crafts. And thank you so much for taking the time to check us out. Have a really great new year.